I want you to, like, picture something for a second.
Okay.
Open your phone, you tap on X or Instagram or TikTok, and there she is, right on the top of your feed.
Always.
Always. You walk past a newsstand. She's staring back at you from, 3 different glossy magazine covers.
Yeah, at least 3.
Right. And you turn on the TV to watch a red carpet event. And the commentators are literally just vamping. They're just killing time until she arrives.
It's true.
You just cannot escape Zendaya right now.
Yeah.
We are talking about a level of sheer, undeniable media ubiquity that very few people in history have ever achieved.
Absolutely.
She's basically the default face of a generation's pop culture. But, and this is why we're doing this deep dive today, beneath all that colossal fame, there is a really uncomfortable whisper going around in cultural criticism right now.
The very loud whisper.
Yes. It's this debate over whether we are worshiping a generational acting talent or if we are just entirely under the spell of, like, a brilliantly constructed product of PR, high fashion, and social media algorithms.
Just inflating her beyond her actual artistic output.
Right. And that is the mission of this deep dive.
Which is exactly why we need to dig into the actual mechanics of modern mega fame. Because for you listening, understanding the difference between a constructed hype machine and raw, undeniable talent, it completely changes how you consume pop culture.
It really does.
It reveals the invisible strings of marketing that shape who we idolize. When you start looking at the actual architecture of celebrity, like how someone becomes inescapable, you stop being just a passive participant in a hype cycle.
You see the matrix.
Yeah, exactly. You start seeing the industry for what it actually is.
So to really see those invisible strings, we have to rewind a bit. Because before we can even begin to critique her current standing as an actor, we have to look at how she survived an industry trap that destroys almost everyone who falls into it.
Oh, the Disney trap.
Yes. She was born in Oakland, California in 1996, started as a child model and dancer, and then, at age 13, she gets scooped up by the Disney Channel.
A huge turning point.
Right. She stars in Shake It Up alongside Bella Thorne, and later anchors her own show, Casey Undercover.
And that Disney Channel origin is usually, well, it's a terminal diagnosis for a serious acting career. The industry actually refers to it as the Disney curse.
Wow. Yeah.
And the mechanics of it are fascinating because when you are a kid in that specific, hyper-energetic Disney ecosystem, you are trained in a very particular style of performing.
Lots of mugging for the camera.
Exactly. It's broad comedy, it's big facial expressions, it's pausing for a laugh track. The network builds this highly sanitized, highly profitable corporate brand around your childhood.
But then you grow up.
Right, but the human brain, and specifically the brains of Hollywood casting directors, tends to freeze you in that mold. They look at you at age 22 and still just see the kid with the goofy laugh from the sitcom.
So it's like they just refuse to buy the illusion if you try to do a serious indie movie.
Transitioning into gritty, serious adult cinema from that starting point is nearly impossible.
But she bypassed it entirely. And the way she did it wasn't by suddenly taking on some dark, gritty indie movie role where she plays a troubled runaway.
No, not at all.
She used a completely different toolkit, which was high fashion. Working with celebrity stylist Law Roach, she essentially weaponized the red carpet.
She really did.
She started showing up in these bold, calculated, just breathtaking avant-garde looks. She went from a Disney kid to a global fashion icon, effectively changing the visual language of how the public and studio executives perceived her.
It's a masterclass in psychological rebranding because fashion at that level isn't just about clothes, It's a signaling mechanism to the gatekeepers of prestige Hollywood.
How so?
Well, European luxury houses and Hollywood studios have a deeply symbiotic relationship. So when a 19-year-old shows up in archival Mugler or custom Valentino and carries it with absolute elegance, it signals maturity.
And sophistication.
Right, and most importantly, luxury commodity status. She treated every single red carpet like an audition for adult Hollywood.
So it's like she used a side quest-like fashion to completely bypass an unbeatable boss battle, which is the Disney child star curse.
That is a perfect way to put it, yeah. She created an entirely new category for herself as this untouchable fashion icon, and suddenly directors aren't seeing a Disney kid anymore, they're seeing a muse.
But wait, I have to push back a little here. Isn't understanding how to brand yourself to that degree Doesn't that require a massive amount of talent on its own?
Oh, totally.
I mean, you can't just be a mannequin. It takes immense emotional intelligence, strategic vision, and just pure charisma to pull off that kind of fashion and force the media to take you seriously.
Without a doubt, navigating the fashion and PR world with that level of precision requires a staggering amount of savvy and magnetism. But, and this is the big but, that brings us right to the uncomfortable question at the center of this cultural debate.
Right, the acting itself.
Exactly. Is the talent of being a brilliant celebrity the exact same thing as the talent of being a brilliant actor? Because the fashion strategy successfully kicked down the doors to massive blockbuster roles.
It definitely got her in the room.
Yeah, but once the red carpet is over and she's actually in front of the camera, the critique is that she isn't actually disappearing into these characters.
Right. The primary argument out there is that she doesn't play new characters. She basically just plays herself.
Yeah.
And her real-life persona is incredibly likable, right? She's magnetic, she's cool, she's composed, she treats everyone in interviews like they're her best friend.
Which is very endearing.
It is, but that exact same lovable baseline personality just seems to bleed into every single role she takes on.
Let's look at the mechanics of her specific performances to see this. Take her role as MJ in the recent Spider-Man films.
Okay, yeah.
The character is written to be sarcastic, aloof, very calm, and a bit deadpan. She executes that perfectly because it fits her natural cadence. But then, look at her role as Rue in HBO's Euphoria.
Which is a massive tonal shift.
Huge. This is the role that won her an Emmy, making her the youngest Best Actress in a Drama. Rue is a severely depressed, grieving, and deeply addicted teenager. The subject matter is infinitely darker and more psychologically complex than a Marvel movie.
But see, even as Rue, the underlying voice, the physical posture, the specific way she delivers a cynical line, it just feels like a sad, exhausted version of MJ's sarcasm.
Interesting.
Like it feels like Zendaya being sad or Zendaya going through something terrible rather than a fully separate, distinct human being with a different soul.
I mean, when you strip away the heavy lighting, the dramatic makeup, and the intense subject matter of those Euphoria scripts, the essence she brings to the screen remains statically her.
Yeah.
Even in moments of intense emotional breakdown on screen, you can still trace the exact same foundational mannerisms and vocal fry that she uses in late-night interviews or lighter comedic roles.
It's like ordering 5 different dishes at an expensive restaurant.
Okay, I follow.
But the chef covers all of them in the exact same signature sauce.
Oh, I like that.
Right, like it's a delicious sauce. But eventually, it's all you can taste, whether you ordered the fish or the steak. The fundamental flavor never changes.
And historically, we should note, that isn't necessarily a fatal flaw for a movie star.
Wait, really?
Yeah, if we look at the broader picture of cinema, some of the most legendary stars of all time operated exactly this way. People bought tickets specifically to see Cary Grant be Cary Grant.
Oh, that's true.
Or to watch Marilyn Monroe do her signature thing. They had a consistent, unchanging persona. But the difference is pacing.
What do you mean by pacing?
Those legends build that immense goodwill and solid box office dominance over decades of sustained work. With Zendaya achieving this colossal world-dominating fame so early in her career, while maintaining a relatively static acting style across wildly different genres, is what leads some critics to label her overrated.
Oh, I see.
The scale of the cultural worship seems to outpace the actual depth of the acting craft.
So if she's always bringing that same signature sauce to her roles, it makes me really wonder about the actors who do the exact opposite.
The chameleons.
Exactly. The ones who absolutely refuse to be recognized on screen. Because a major point of comparison here is that Zendaya rarely, if ever, undergoes drastic physical transformations for a role.
Very rarely.
She doesn't dye her hair stark white or shave her head or drastically change her weight or alter her facial features. She generally maintains her natural, highly elegant look on screen.
Even when the character maybe shouldn't look so elegant?
Right. Even looking ahead to her upcoming 2026 film, the drama, all the wild, bold theatrical looks we're seeing, they are strictly reserved for the red carpet press tour.
Yes.
The actual character on screen looks largely like the person we see in magazines.
The theatricality stays in the marketing, not the performance. And it's a sharp contrast to the chameleon actors of Hollywood, the ones famous for letting a character swallow them whole.
Like who?
Well, think about Charlize Theron. She completely altered her body, her posture, her walk, and her face for Monster, which won her an Oscar.
Oh yeah, she was unrecognizable.
Or Nicole Kidman. She wore a prosthetic nose and changed her entire vocal cadence to disappear entirely into Virginia Woolf in the Hours.
I mean, Cate Blanchett literally played Bob Dylan.
Exactly.
Tilda Swinton played an 82-year-old man. Natalie Portman completely shaved her head for Vendetta.
Yeah.
These are actors who willingly abandoned vanity entirely.
They let the character take over completely.
So hold on, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Is this just the industry's weird, outdated obsession with punishing beautiful women before we hand them a serious acting trophy?
That is a very fair question.
Does an actor have to physically suffer or undergo some extreme, ugly mutation just to prove they are a serious artist? Because that feels a little toxic.
It does, and it is entirely fair to question Hollywood's masochistic streak when it comes to prestige acting, especially for women. An actor absolutely should not have to physically or psychologically torture themselves to have their talent validated.
Right.
But what we are really analyzing here isn't the suffering itself, it's the mechanics of audience immersion.
The suspension of disbelief.
Exactly. When an actor doesn't change physically or vocally in any meaningful way, the audience is constantly reminded that they're watching a highly recognizable celebrity.
It breaks the illusion. Like if I'm watching a gripping drama and a small part of my brain is thinking, wow, her hair looks amazing, that's totally Zendaya, then I'm not really watching the character go through hell.
No, you aren't.
I'm just hanging out with a famous person on a movie set.
Precisely. The Chameleon actors use physical transformation as a practical tool to erase their celebrity persona so the character can actually live in the mind of the viewer.
So there's no distraction.
Right. When the celebrity persona remains completely intact on screen, it invites the exact critique we are discussing, that the audience is watching a personality, not a performance.
So if the acting lacks that deep chameleon-like transformation, and the immersion is frequently broken by her sheer star power, what exactly is fueling this unstoppable cultural dominance?
That is the million-dollar question.
How do you get to the point where you are the defining face of a generation without, like, Daniel Day-Lewis level of acting depth?
It comes down to two things: a digital hype machine and a masterful command of modern PR.
Okay, unpack that hype machine for us.
You have to look at the unique demographic ecosystem she commands. She has a massive, highly active, predominantly youth-skewing audience on social media.
Which is incredibly powerful.
Huge. In this specific digital environment, every outfit, every casual quote in a magazine, every candid paparazzi photo becomes a historic, defining trend. And this intensity is largely algorithmic.
Algorithmic how?
Well, we can compare this to the sudden digital rise of actors like Odessa A'zion,
All right.
where a specific face is suddenly everywhere online, pushed relentlessly into the cultural center by engagement algorithms. The more a face is engaged with, the more the algorithm serves it, creating a feedback loop of hyper-visibility.
And the hype, I mean, it borders on a religious experience for some of these fans.
It really does.
I read this story recently about a fan who met Zendaya and simply called her pretty. And Zendaya just smiled and said, "So are you."
Which is sweet.
It's a totally normal, polite 5-second human interaction.
Okay.
But the fan reacted online as if they had been literally blessed by a deity.
Wow.
They posted that they would never feel insecure again, that this brief interaction had permanently cured their self-doubt. People are treating her as a larger-than-life mythical figure, completely forgetting that she is just a human being going to work.
What you're describing is the absolute peak of a parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
The human brain just isn't naturally wired to understand mass media. When you see someone's face on your phone 40 times a day, your brain subconsciously starts coding them as a close friend or a trusted figure.
It's very intimate for them.
Exactly. The fans aren't just consuming her movies, they're consuming the idea of her. The PR machine has successfully positioned her as this aspirational, untouchable figure of flawless grace.
And when the PR narrative is that airtight, the movie itself is just secondary.
Right.
Which perfectly explains the entire situation with Dune Part 1.
Oh, yes.
She was promoted relentlessly as the lead star of this massive sci-fi blockbuster. She was front and center on all the posters, doing all the major global press tours, wearing these incredible desert-themed avant-garde outfits on the red carpet.
The hype was absolutely deafening.
But then audiences actually sat down in the theater and found out she had barely any screen time or lines. The marketing image was vastly larger than the actual role she played in the film.
It was a brilliant, if cynical, weaponization of a celebrity's cultural capital. The studio executives knew exactly what they were doing.
They just wanted the opening weekend numbers.
Exactly. They knew that putting her face on the poster and sending her on the press tour would guarantee a massive demographic of younger viewers would buy tickets, regardless of her actual narrative function in the story.
So the marketing relied entirely on her hype, not her acting.
Yes.
It makes me think of this concept of, like, hologram stardom.
Hologram stardom.
Yeah, it's like going to the grocery store and buying this giant premium bag of chips because the packaging looks incredible and massive.
Okay, I see where you're going.
But then you open it up and you realize the bag is 80% air. You didn't really buy the chips, you bought the packaging. The marketing is the actual product.
That is painfully accurate, and that PR machinery never stops running, even in her personal life.
Right.
Look at the intense media focus on her early 2026 engagement to her Spider-Man co-star Tom Holland.
Right.
It completely feeds the algorithmic beast. Now, there's plenty of speculation out there from onlookers that they aren't a natural match and that Holland is struggling to break out of his superhero typecasting.
Which people talk about constantly online.
Because of this dynamic, some critics suspect the relationship, or at least the highly publicized nature of it, functions as a massive, ongoing PR move.
To continuously promote their respective careers.
Exactly, to keep them both dominating the headlines.
I mean, whether it's true love or a strategic alliance, the result is exactly the same. Sheer media ubiquity.
Exactly. Every aspect of a modern megastar's life, from their red carpet gowns to their romantic engagements to their casual interactions with fans, is scrutinized, optimized, and deployed as a potential marketing tactic.
Everything is content.
Yes. It all contributes to the overarching narrative of their fame. The machinery is so overwhelming that some critics even argue she was doing more authentic, unguarded work back during her brief singing career.
Wow, really?
Yeah, long before the Hollywood image-making apparatus fully took over her identity.
So when you look at this whole ecosystem, the genius escaped from the Disney Channel via high fashion, the fact that she mostly plays variations of her highly likable self, rather than physically disappearing into roles, and the sheer algorithmic force of a digital hype machine doing all the heavy lifting, it forces a total reevaluation of what a movie star even is today.
It really does. The metrics for success in the entertainment industry have fundamentally changed.
They're totally different now.
It's no longer just about the performance that happens between action and cut. It's about the performance of celebrity itself, happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, across multiple digital platforms.
It sounds exhausting.
It is. The question isn't whether she is talented. She clearly is.
Right.
The question is whether the architecture of her fame is built on the foundation of her acting, or if her acting is just one small pillar supporting a massive, self-sustaining lifestyle brand.
So to you listening, the next time you sit down in a dark theater to watch a massive blockbuster where you see a trending celebrity completely dominating your social media feed, I want you to really observe your own reaction.
Pay attention to it.
Ask yourself, are you truly captivated by the art they are creating on screen? Or are you just under the spell of their carefully curated celebrity aura?
It's the essential question for anyone trying to navigate the modern media landscape with their eyes open.
It really is. And as we wrap up this deep dive, there is one final lingering paradox I want you to chew on. We talked a lot about how critics often penalize actors for bringing their natural, likable, everyday personality to the screen.
Right, the lack of transformation.
Exactly. But if an actor is heavily criticized for essentially being themselves on camera, does that mean true authenticity is actually a liability in Hollywood?
Oh, that's a deep question.
Think about it. If being too much yourself makes people think you lack talent, maybe the ultimate performance in the 21st century is convincing the world you aren't performing at all.